Hey, everybody. Welcome to this AMA with Ken from Americium. Watching that intro, I'm fired up. How about you, Ken?
Oh, definitely fired up. It's been a long time waiting, building, working on this, but yeah, we're starting to get really close. We've seen a lot of really good things happening lately. So yeah,
Awesome.
definitely fired up and ready to get this out there.
Yeah, 100%. So, for everybody tuning in, Americium will be launching as a Proof of Memes team supported project soon. And today I have Ken for this AMA. So, feel free to drop any comments and questions. I will do my best to get them up on the screen and uh, if they're relevant to the topic, I'll bring them up right away, and if not, we'll get to your questions later. So to begin with, Ken, I just wondered if you could give us a really a brief overview of what Americium is and what makes it special in this space, and then we'll get into a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so I mean, what Americium is itself, is it's actually created from nuclear explosions, etc. It is the rarest element on the periodic table, and where that actually plays into the tokenomics of it and what it actually does is the fact that this token will be live on three different blockchains. It'll be on BSC, Ethereum, and Palm, and
All
it will
right.
be using the same supply. The same total supply will be spread amongst the three blockchains. It is hyper deflationary and it also has the true burn.
Yeah.
So, with that, you will notice that the supply will dwindle very quickly, which is going to be good for people that hold the token because it's going to continue to add to the scarcity of. And there's already a pretty good scarcity of it looking at how the token allocations are split amongst the chains as of now. And
Okay.
with the
Cool.
burns that will be going on, it'll be even more scarce. So it
Yeah.
is actually the first of its kind. This is something that's never been done before in crypto, and it will be burning on all three chains, but taking down the same total supply.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I can't wait to we'll get into like all the details and everything, but that sounds sweet. Very sweet. So before we get into that, I always like to number one, welcome you as well as get to know you a little bit. One of the things that's nice for me and probably a lot of other people on Proof of Memes is that we have totally seen you in action with you launching the Scorcher Proof of Memes token and your help with supporting other projects and helping other projects and stuff like that. But to begin with, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and some of your crypto experience?
Yeah, so me myself, I was a stock trader for a few years before I got into crypto. I got into crypto in earlier side of 2020.
Yep.
So I've been in crypto for a few years now, and it's something that I definitely enjoy. I've always liked trading. I've always liked going through investment strategies, etc. Because one of the things to definitely keep in mind and to look at, and one thing that I noticed a good amount of years back is that the fiat currency that you hold is never going to outpace the inflation. It's never going to keep up with the inflation. So obviously making investments, being able to grow the money that you earn, it's kind of a funny concept because me growing up, my grandmother always told me, "Oh, save, get
Yeah.
savings accounts,
Yeah.
save your money," but saving your money is losing your money at the same time. So when you really look into inflation, if I would have been saving my money this entire time, even just in the last, say, 2 years, we've seen about a 13% inflation in the United States over about a 2 year period. So thinking
Yeah,
about that right
the whole
there,
thing's changed, right? Like from those early days to how things are now financially, right?
Definitely, definitely, and I mean that's the main thing to think of is the purchasing power of. So, yes, you may get more dollars or there's more money printed or it may look like okay, well, minimum wage got raised or wages got raised in general. But also when you're looking into things like, the cost of food that has drastically gone up, the cost of housing, the cost of cars, new and used, all of these
Yeah.
different things that play such a big factor into it. So that was one of the big things that brought me into it. Stock market, yes, I was able to make
Mhm.
money in the stock market, but the stock market is also pegged to a US dollar. So
Yeah.
that's another thing with the stock market is it may look like those charts are always going up, but that's because those charts are always inflating. So if you actually take that and you run it in relation to a purchasing power chart of say a US dollar, it's funny to
Mhm.
look at something like say the Dow, and the reason why I bring up the Dow is DJI has been around since the 20s. So it's the longest data that you can actually compare. If you
Yeah.
compare that with the same chart of the purchasing power of the US dollar, it's almost the exact inverse of the purchasing power of a US dollar, which shows that the DJI goes up due to inflation. It doesn't go up due to it being more valuable. It just says it is because now there's more dollars in circulation. So that was one of the big
Mhm.
things that finally pulled me from that space and into crypto. And when I was pulled into crypto, it was after we had the first big pump. So, it was a very volatile time for me to go into it.
Yeah.
And that was a time that a lot of people also got shaken out of the market. So, it
A good
was a
time for
big
learning,
learning
right?
experience. Yes, huge learning experience. And for me as well, my
Yeah.
first 6 months to a year of crypto trading didn't really go that well, but I learned a ton. And, then I started roughly about 18 months ago is when I started to actually work in the space.
Mhm.
And that was when I first really, I started out doing moderator jobs and then I kind of moved my way into doing marketing, brand ambassadorships, community management, AMA speaking,
Yep.
things like that. And
Yep.
and just
100%.
continued to gain knowledge and continued to learn, meet people, network, broaden my circles, things like that. And that's what I'm really excited for with this project is I started mostly as a BSC maxi. I played on the
Mhm.
ETH chain, but at the time you were looking at, 150, $250 gas fees on the Ethereum network. So,
Yeah, getting in early is a little hard sometimes with that, right? Or like
yeah.
starting out there and having those gas fees, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a novel concept because you always hear the terms of BSC's full of paper hands or scammers or this or that. It's just that they're able to enter that barrier of entry is a lot lower because you can deploy a contract for about 1/10 the cost of ETH. You can
Mhm.
transact at that time for I mean at that time some of the transactions on BSC I mean you're looking at 1/500th of the gas that's paid on Ethereum. So it that
Yeah.
barrier of entry allowed certain things, but as people have seen now with the Ethereum fees getting lower, you start to see that trading mentality start to change. So, it was just as much of the barrier of entry as it was anything else. Everybody's like, "Oh, ETH is full of whales and, ETH has all these big buys and this and that."
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
BSC you'll see $5 buys and it's a bunch of small money and it's just because of transaction fees. So as people see now that, you can get transactions done on ETH depending on the GUI and depending on the time, for around $3, $5 a transaction, you start to see those trading habits and behaviors change. So I think that this is an exciting time. Of course, Palm is really, really low on the gas fees. It's
Yeah. Oh
drastically
yeah.
lower than even BSC. So it's kind of a fun time for everybody to be able to
Mhm.
bring all of this together.
Yeah.
I can network to the Ethereum side. I've grown a pretty good following on the Palm side and have a lot of, respect and reputation when it comes to the Palm side. I'm very well known
Yeah.
on the BSC side. So it's really good for all chains and all networks to have a project like this where we can bring people in from ETH and bring them to Palm. We can bring people from Palm over to BSC, which with the ANC collection NFTs, we've already started to see, because that's where our founders' NFTs will be hosted, is on BSC
Okay.
network.
Okay.
So I've already seen people coming from Palm coming over and
Yeah.
minting on BSC, and some of these guys have never even been on BSC before. So it's like a
Yeah, which is
really good
interesting,
cross
right?
pollination that we're able to see with this.
Well, yeah, and we're gonna have, when the bridge and everything's fully up and running between ETH and BSC, you're gonna have movement going both ways, right? It's obviously gonna bring a lot towards proof of memes, but like you said, you're gonna find people that go in each direction, right? As they learn about this, and your project is going to be one, right? With on multi-chain, and there might be some different opportunities, right? So let's get in here into Americium and find out a little bit more about that. So, um, obviously, you're doing the multi-chain and the supply that's going to be across. Is that easy to kind of keep updated between the three? Let's say, I guess you're having a percentage on each one. Is that how it's working essentially?
Yeah, yeah. So that's how it works essentially. There is roughly 49.5% supply allocated for BSC. BSC will be the main token, and the purpose of why most of the supply will be hosted on BSC is because that's where we had the biggest private sale. It will be the
Right.
same price as the private sale on the Palm chain,
Yep.
but it was just the most amount of supply. So
Yep.
BSC will be the main token, 49.5% supply. Palm is roughly around 26, 28%. I don't have the number actually in front of me right now. And then a little over 20% supply is allocated for the Ethereum chain. The
Yep.
reason why Ethereum has the lowest amount is we actually got a whale loan from Rolodex, RLDX, and
Okay.
they're giving full marketing support, etc. So there is
Right.
no tokens that will be sold on Ethereum prior to launch. They're
Right.
actually doing a whale funding for a tax percentage. So the way that that works is there is a 1% added tax on the Ethereum chain that goes to RLDX, and
Okay.
they
Nice.
are funding the liquidity for us. So all of the supply on ETH will be funded into the liquidity. There will be no pre-sale there. On
Yep.
Palm, we're raising roughly $8,400 is what the private sale will be for the allocation. And then the Palm team is matching us with $4,000 in liquidity. On BSC, we currently have 50 BNB that was raised. We
Yep.
actually raised in BUSD, but I smartly enough put the BUSD
Hey.
funding into BNB while the price was down. Now
Yeah.
that we've seen the market recover and bounce back up, we had about $13,000 raised. It is now worth about $15,000 in BNB liquidity. So
Hey.
we have about
Perfect.
15,000 for BSC, 13,500 for Ethereum, $12,400 for Palm. They will all start with the same market cap, same price,
Yep.
but depending on just relation to where the pair token goes at that time, of course, prices will vary a little bit after all of those liquidity pools are set, but
Yep.
they'll all be right about between somewhere between 60, 70K starting market cap is where we'll be sitting on all three chains, just depending upon how the pair token moves.
Okay. So, well, here's a little question for you. I know, especially with on Palm, there's been a bit of concern with projects, or maybe, I don't know if it's projects or community members that launch and then end up selling a bunch on MEXC or something like that. Um, how is there any concern with the multi-chain side, like one chain dumping the price or something like that? Is that, or is the tokenomics set up in such a way to kind of help deal
Well,
with
it's
that?
gonna be hard for people to do that. For one, we have, excuse me, we have a 5% transfer tax on all three chains. So
Okay. Yep.
that's going to be one thing that will curb people that are trying to take advantage of going that route. Also,
Yep.
on top of that, we will be using, if you look into the recent contract addresses that Palm themselves have released when it comes to BSC and Ethereum, and you see that they have added the mint and burn function into
Right.
those. What that means is that if you were to say transfer 10,000 tokens from Palm and you were going to transfer those or bridge those, I should say, over to Ethereum, it will burn those tokens on Palm. It will mint those tokens on ETH. And that's how you make it happen where you have the same supply amongst all chains instead of
Okay.
it being where you're just taking the supply out and moving it, and it's still
Right.
showing on that
Right.
Palm side. It'll actually burn on the Palm side, mint on the Ethereum side. And then obviously with the 5% transfer tax as well, that's going to be another way of it affecting them. I've kind of heard people ask when it comes to even Palm itself, and they're like, with the bonus coming from, say, BSC or Ethereum, wouldn't someone be able to just arbitrage and transfer over and then send that to Mexi and sell from there? Looking into Mexi, you see it's all traded by order book and spread. So with it being a thinner liquidity, it's that wouldn't even really be something that would be applicable either, because if somebody was to say try to make money by arbitraging that way and taking their bonus tokens, transferring to Mexi and selling Palm, they're going to pay so much price impact on those sells that they're going to end up eating up that 25% bonus anyways. So
Right. Right.
this is kind of similar in how it's done. And if there is that arbitrage between, of course, some people will take advantage of that. There could be times where, say, Ethereum price is 20% higher than Palm. So somebody, buys on
Yeah.
Palm and then they go and transfer that over to ETH and then sell. You also have to think about the fact they have a 6% buy tax, a 6% sell tax, a 5% transfer tax. So it's not going to be as easy as people would assume to be able to go and arbitrage this token, but there may
Mm-hmm.
be opportunities for that to be able to happen, and with me thinking about it that way, you're already looking at 17% tax between your buy, your sell, and your transfer. So between those already, that's going to curb some of that. But as it does happen, with this being a multi-chain reward token, all that means is that you're going to be getting buy pressure on whatever has the lowest price of the three. You may be getting possible sell pressure on whatever has the highest price of the three, but that's going to be something that's really good for volume. And then also with
Mm-hmm.
that transfer tax, that will bring tokens back into the owner wallet that I'll be able to use for staking on that native chain. So that's something that's a very good benefit for me as well. Is as people do want to move tokens, that 5% transfer tax comes back to me. Then I can use that transfer tax for, say, diamond hand airdrops, adding to the staking pool, maybe
Yeah.
certain buy events, etc.
Okay. And then I'm just going to bring up the taxes really quick onto the screen here. Um, so this is on the website right now, and this has the BUSD rewards. Is that the tax that's going to be on each chain, and then the rewards is different, or has the tax been updated?
Yeah, so if you actually go into the Telegram group itself and do /tax, you'll see all three allocations
Okay.
that are there.
Yep.
So the only difference between them is on BSC, it's BUSD rewards.
Yep.
6 and 6 is the buy and
Yep.
sell tax. On
Yep.
Palm, it's also 6 and 6, but instead of BUSD, it's Palm rewards. Everything else is the same. And then
Awesome.
on Ethereum, it is Ethereum rewards. And the only difference in percentage is the 1% added tax for the whale tax, which goes back to Rolodex.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's pretty sweet because well, we'll get into the buyback and burn section, but I like I personally like getting rewards myself, especially if we're able, all of us are very early on proof of memes here, and will be early to get in, whether it's the private sale, whether it's the public pre-sale, which is going to be on Rolodex, correct?
With them, yes, we're getting that all set up on how that side of it's going to work.
Yeah.
Through because it's technically supposed to go through their pad, but with
Yeah.
them, they're not actually getting tokens. So
Right.
with them not actually getting tokens, they're pretty much crowdfunding the LP. and then that will be paid to me, locked in liquidity, etc. And then we kind of go from there. We just add that whole token supply that we'll have directly to the liquidity.
Okay. But it
So it'll
is
be a crazy fun one on that Rolodex Ethereum side. When
right.
you're looking into it, it'll be really fun because there's going to be no circulating supply at launch, technically. All of the supply will be locked in liquidity. So, I mean, technically it's circulating, but it's not in the hands of any holders. So, that one will be a lot of buy pressure on that side. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason behind is because no one has tokens. Also, where it's a clever side from me, as well as with them, is technically with them doing the crowdfunding, they're all invested in the project, but no one has any tokens. So everyone that is, helping for the crowdfunding when it comes to Rolodex, they're
Yep.
they're going to be buying the launch. They're going to be supporting the launch, and they're also going to be working for their own bag and their own investment because, with that loan, of course there's repayment of the loan that also, when it comes to the profit that they may be able to make from the 1% tax, that is dependent upon the success of the project. So with it being done that way, instead of saying here's a big bag of tokens, okay, you guys gave me the LP, let's go launch this, you guys can dump whenever you want to, let's go have fun. Instead of it being done that way, they have to support the project as well because that's what's going to give them the most bang for their buck.
Okay. So then when the proof of memes uh public, like there'll be a public pre-sale, or is it
Whitelist only.
oh, the whitelist one? Yeah. So that's based on the holders, like uh sorry, well, why don't you tell me what that's based on, or who that was available to?
Yeah, so that was based off of the diamond-handed holders from Scorch. So the way that Scorch was done was we did a private sale for Scorcher, and that was done with a long list of diamond hand and very well-known people in the Palm community,
Yeah.
and that's how that one was done. And they were also told that with diamond handing the token, holding at least 1.5 million tokens, having no sells or transfer from the wallet, and that still remains the same now, is no sells or transfers, 1.5 million minimum holding, and the time of hold was that you must purchase and hold before December 26th.
Okay.
The purpose of why that was done was so that they could prove over more of a
Yeah.
time period that they can hold, instead of, okay, you buy today, you hold until tomorrow, you're whitelisted.
Right.
And that was the
Yeah.
the main thing, was the time horizon of that hold. I wanted to make it a longer hold so that people know. One thing people always complain about is, oh, well, why wasn't it public? As you see with most public pre-sales, the token dumps. And that's something everybody sees is, okay, you made it public, a bunch of people get in, and now that token right after launch, you get a 2, 3, maybe 4x, then it ends up dumping pretty hard. And that's the common thing. You also see the common thing of people over leveraging themselves with these sales and giving
Mm-hmm.
away too much supply. So BSC,
Right.
for example, was $200 BUSD for the contribution. They also had to mint an ANC collection NFT to be eligible. That NFT at the
Mm-hmm.
time was a $75 mint fee.
Yeah.
23% of that goes back to the developer wallet, 25% of that goes back to the marketing wallet. So because we're adding 100% to 100% from all raises to liquidity, instead of saying, oh, we're going to do 80%, 60%, we're going to take the rest of this money for project funds, development funds, etc. All of the development has been paid out of pocket. All of the development has been done by my in-house team, and all
Yeah.
of their cost has been paid by me. It has not been paid by investor funds. So 100% of that private raise is going to liquidity. That liquidity, of course, will
Yeah.
be locked. And with that being done that way, that's why I made it to where everyone had to mint, because that makes it to where we still have project funds. We have
Yeah.
project funds for marketing, buyback, etc. But
Yeah.
100% of everything investors are putting in will be backed 1-to-1 in liquidity. So it'll be the same thing for the Palm side. It'll be the same thing for the ETH side. Whereas on the ETH side, they don't get tokens, but 100% of that raise is going directly into liquidity. It's not, I'm not taking any percentage for personal funds or anything like that. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
100% LP. And then we will see those utilities from BSC replicated. So the BSC utilities are already all done. They've been done for a while. That includes the Celis Swapper, the
Yeah.
automatic buyback and burn passive income NFTs. Um, that includes the staking, and the staking, of course, is rewards accepting. So if you have your tokens locked in staking, you will still earn all of your holder rewards while staked. You'll see that replicated amongst all three chains. You'll see the Celis Swapper replicated amongst all three chains. You'll also see the NFTs replicated amongst all three chains. And the way that those will actually benefit for the founders is
Mm-hmm.
if you have a founders NFT, which will be hosted on the BSC network, if you have that NFT, there will be a 5% profit sharing from every single mint from any collection on Americium. So that will include Ethereum, Palm, BSC, and any collections coming out in the future. That 5% profit sharing will be paid to the founders' holders in native chain tokens. So if you're holding on BSC, you'll earn native Palm, you'll earn native ETH, and you'll earn native BNB.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, so it sounds like you've thought out a lot of this, especially with the multiple chain, and then I like that the rewards are going to be, going back and supporting, the founders, the holders, the people that are really supporting the project and everything. Um, so you kind of touched on it a little bit, but and you mentioned the liquidity being locked and everything, but I always like to ask project founders or devs about the security side of your chain, or like of your token. So kind of security audits, things like that. Because, well, now you're dealing with three chains, right? The sell, the swapper, everything else.
Uh-huh.
Um, so, to me, I've seen, especially the way I've seen you helping others, it seems like you have a lot of knowledge. But just wondering if there's anything been done on the security side to kind of help ensure all funds
Yeah, so
are
when it
locked
comes to
and
the Cellus Swapper itself, the technology is done by my developer Matt, and he had a project called True DeFi, and that's where it actually originated. It
yep.
is his Cellus Swapper technology. Then
Mm-hmm.
he got hired by a project called Vault Finance. What Vault
Okay.
Finance
Yep.
has
And
is the Novation Exchange and
yep.
Launchpad. He's the developer of the Cellus Swapper on that.
All
Obviously,
right.
that's been fully CertiK audited as well.
Yep.
So that code is completely safe. It's the same code that we use, just instead of it being when it's done on Novation, it's done on a larger scale where it's with multiple tokens fully liquidity holding. When it's done on ours, it's just the same base swapper code. It is not liquidity holding. The liquidity is still locked, like for example on Palm, it's locked on Palm Swap. For example, on BSC, it'll still be a Pancake Swap LP. For example, on Ethereum, it'll still be a Uniswap LP. So the LP
Mm-hmm.
provider is something that's fully trusted, fully audited, etc.
Yep.
All of the lockers are fully audited, same as the swapper is fully audited. Our contract code is already audited through InterFi, and that's on the BSC contract itself. Obviously, I made a very big announcement recently, and we are in the process of doing the three contracts and updating them. And where the update had to come in is we had to add the mint and burn function. The base code, where it comes to no blacklist, no disable trading, true burn function, no max transaction, all of those kinds of security settings, security features in the code, all of that will still remain true. It just had to have the mint and burn function added and updated. And why that had to be added was to have the functionality with the bridge to be able to tell the bridge, okay, these tokens are coming from Palm, they're going to ETH. We need you to burn them on Palm and mint them on ETH. So there will be no
Right.
internal, just to be clear on that. Some people, I know when they hear the term mint, people think, oh my
Hmm.
God, that means he can just make tokens anytime he wants. That's the furthest thing from the truth. The truth,
Hmm.
there is no owner mint function. There is no mint function that I can call. So I cannot mint
Okay.
tokens myself. Only the bridge can mint the tokens. So they will not ever be able to be minted by me. They will not ever be able to be minted above the max supply of the token. So there's still a 10 million token max supply. There is no owner function to mint. So I will never be able to mint tokens myself.
Okay. Well, that's very good to know. Very good. And it looks like you have some fans that want you to sign their legendary NFTs.
My signature's pretty poor, but I can do it.
Hey, yeah. Well, it's a digital signature. You can make it look however you want. Right.
Yeah, let me do it with my finger.
Yeah. Yeah. So, another aspect that I wanted to ask you about was, you've ended up being a Palm Proof of Memes team supported project. Do you have anything you wanted to share about that? Like how that came about or just what that means exactly?
Yeah, so I mean that's a pretty fun topic. So me personally, as I said, I've been pretty much a BSC maxi for a while. I have helped people that have done some ETH projects and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly myself, I've been mostly on the BSC side. So guys like View, Ryan Medhurst, Luna Dog, a good amount of the pretty known names that are in the Palm community. Some people that are on the board of advisors, etc are good friends of mine that I've known a year plus. You know, we've done BSC trading together, we've been in private groups together, worked together, etc. And they've been trying to pull me onto the Palm chain for a good amount of time. And
Yeah.
I kind of, I kind of waited and waited and I kind of saw, where the chart was and how the chart looked and kind of that falling knife pattern that we saw originally after that first all-time high, and we
Yeah.
saw the big push up. And then it's kind of normal to see when it comes to new Manet launches and things like that, where they have the hype of the Manet, things tend to skyrocket early, and then the early investors start to take their profit, they sell it down. Then it kind of gets into that oversold area where people aren't really in a profit anymore. There's more people wanting to buy than wanting to sell. There's not really that sell pressure there once was. And you see people that start to grow the price, grow the chain from there. So, we talked for a while and we finally got to that point of, where I started to see when it came to the chart that there was a lot more growth opportunity than drop opportunity. And
Right. Right.
between the relationships I had with them, they told me they wanted me to get in contact with the core team. I started talking with Rocky Mountain roughly a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Okay.
And that's kind of where the process kind of started for this. And, we just continued to stay in contact, continued to go from there. I liked what I heard from him. He liked what he heard from me. And the way that kind of works is like I alluded to earlier, there will be a $4,000 liquidity match from the Palm team.
Yeah.
Going into detail with that does not include any tokens for them. That's more of a grant than anything else. So
Right.
they're giving me the $4,000. They are not receiving any return on investment when it comes to that. That will
Mm-hmm.
bolster our liquidity. They will also be doing a full marketing rollout. And as we've seen, they did the recent announcement for us. They also did the recent tweet. And then we also saw the same thing from Rolodex as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys know of the Rolo Palm, that kind of partnership. The fact that Zach is working very closely with the Palm team and is an
100%.
advisor for the Palm team as well. So this is kind of a cohesive marketing sprint. Me in particular, as I stated before, I have a lot of connections on the BSC side. So I'm mostly taking care of the BSC side marketing, but I'll also do things for the Ethereum side. Also, with my work on Scorcher, that obviously has marketed Americium on the Palm side. And then Palm
100%.
Team will take care of most of the rest of the Palm marketing, where the Rolodex team will be helping us a lot with the Ethereum side marketing.
Okay, sweet. Well, and that's and that's the whole thing. Just gonna bring this one comment back up because this launch will have, what they were saying here is this launch is going to have some serious volume, and it's also going to be a safe launch. And what what we all need on proof of memes is a lot more volume, right? And that's what's really going to drive this. And that's what I like about what you've done with Scorcher, and then now with Americium as well, is it's going to bring more volume and more eyes onto proof of memes, right?
Yeah, and also, one of the big benefits when it comes to this is, some people get worried when they hear the term arbitrage, or they get worried about, aren't
Oh
people going
yeah.
to do this or do that, and it's like where the negative of it could come from could possibly be on, possibly BSC or ETH, where people may be taking advantage of that side from buying, say, if the Palm token has a lower price and people
Yeah.
buy it on Palm and move it over. But the benefit of all of this is, like you said, is volume for one. So
Mm-hmm.
volume is very, very important, especially for a reward token. If there's no volume, there's no reward. So that's what you want to see. That's also why I went with a 6% tax in and out. Make it a lower tax, make it something that incentivizes people to buy and sell. And also, one of the biggest issues you see with most reward tokens is they will advertise about these huge rewards you can get, 10%, 15%, blah blah blah, and try to get people in on that niche concept of, oh, we have this high tax for rewards, you're going to get all these rewards. What you typically see for that is you
Mm-hmm.
see a launch pump, and then you see nobody else wanting to buy because the tax is too high. Then
Yeah.
when you see people sell that token, you see the people that sell that token, they just leave the group because they know if it's a 15% tax token, they're not going to get that swing to be able to buy and sell for a profit. So
Right.
if you're
Yep.
going to
Very
sell that
hard.
token, you're going to leave that chat, and you're not going to be a part of that chat now because you sold your tokens and you know that there's not going to be another entry where you're going to make a profit. So that's one of the biggest things with having a 6% tax is it'll also incentivize people that, feel like, okay, well, this may be the top I'm going to sell. Maybe it is, and maybe there is a dip, but now you only need 12% to break even. If you're anywhere over 12% on the drop, you know that you can actually get back in, and accumulate more tokens during that swing trade. So that's one of the big things that I wanted to go for when it comes to this: incentivize volume, incentivize day traders, but also give that opportunity to people so that they don't think, okay, well, I sold now, I better leave because I'm not going to find another entry. They
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
will possibly be able to find that entry, and that will keep people wanting to hang out and stay around and keep their eyes on it. So that's a big thing. And then it also will play hand in hand directly with the bridge keepers. And that's something that's
Right.
very important for me is, I've pushed the bridge keepers to some of my guys. I've
Yeah.
recently had about 10 to 12 of those have been minted from some people that are in private groups and things of my own.
Yep.
And with that, I want to be able to bring that benefit as well. So we do want to see people that are bridging that token from Palm to ETH or ETH to Palm, or regardless of which direction it's going, we want to see that use of the bridge.
Well, exactly. And I know, there's always possibility of having your own bridge or something like that, but I do like the idea of, keeping it on the Palm Bridge and getting that volume there and supporting the people that got the Bridge Keeper NFTs. And that's what a project is, a good project in this space is going to find ways to support the whole ecosystem, right?
Yeah, I mean that was the purpose where it came from Scorcher, is to get my name out there, to get the full support out there, and to actually support the token, support the network, etc. We've done Palm G buyback and burns. We burn Palm with every transaction,
Mm-hmm.
and there's also at that time was a very critical time for the network. And what we
Yeah.
were seeing from a lot of people was a lot of different rug pulls, a lot of different, a lot of different negativity. And what that was doing was damaging the chain. And people needed to see something that they could believe in. They needed to see
Yeah.
something that, was going to improve the chain, was going to be transparent, was going to be innovative. And, that's what we brought with the token. And people also
Yeah.
saw with like our sellless swapper, for example, the innovation and the benefit of the utility that's coming. Now we've
Hmm.
done things like the NFT morphing. And we've sold out we sold out two NFT collections in less than a week.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we've already came out with the NFT morphing. The rewards
Hmm.
accepting staking will be the first of its kind. The added multiplier from the NFTs will be the first of its kind. I mean, multiple things that bring the innovation and bring true utility to the chain, but we also bring faith to the chain and show people
Yeah.
that there is good teams and there is solid projects and that this chain does deserve to have real utility projects on it. And that's the thing for us, is to benefit the chain and to make these things happen. All that does is benefits Americium itself as well for the long term. Helping
For
the
sure.
chain is helping our token. Helping our token is helping the chain.
100%. And I agree that it did feel like a real critical time because, like you said, the morale was just low right then. So it was very nice when both, I would say, Scorcher and the Wild West token kind of came in and really kind of got a little bit more momentum going for the chain and everything. So regarding Scorcher, then, uh, is there a connection between the two at this point? Then, like once Americium launches, is there any connection or rewards between the two or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'll be getting the full documentation of that written up for everyone, just to make it a bit easier and have it in plain sight for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can say is that the Americium Palm side NFTs will be buying back Scorch. And what they'll actually be doing is, instead of burning those tokens, I do not want to over liquefy, so I do not want to burn too much. It just ends up stagnating the token. So what I'll
Yeah.
actually be doing with that, instead of burning those tokens, and also because supply is very, very scarce when it comes to Americium. So I
Yeah.
have plans of doing the Diamond Hand rewards the way that you will be eligible for that. There will have to be a minimum balance of Scorch tokens and a minimum balance of Americium tokens staked for people to be eligible for those rewards. So that will curb the buy pressure on both sides, or the sell pressure, I mean, on both sides. And
Okay.
that will support the Scorcher token. People that get into Americium that don't have Scorcher, they will have to buy it to be able to be eligible for that, and they will have to stake it as well. The
Mm-hmm.
tokens that get bought back from the Americium side NFTs, they're actually going to be, it's going to be more of a buyback and reflect than it's going to be a buyback and burn. Those tokens that are bought back from the Americium NFTs will be held in the wallet, and those will be used for the airdrops for the diamond handers of Americium and Scourge. So it's another incentive for people, and it's another way of giving back. What that's also going to do is it's going to add to holdings, and it's going to split it, more evenly for people that are holding these tokens.
Okay.
So instead of it getting bought back and then just burned where nobody sees the benefit of, it'll be bought back and then it will be airdropped to those diamond hand holders. So that's going to be another big benefit that's going to be able to reward people, because when it comes to the Americium supply itself being scarce, I'm not going to have a massive amount of tokens that I'll be able to give
Mm-hmm.
out when it comes to that. So
Yeah.
the way that I'm going to double down on that is they'll be able to receive Americium tokens and they'll be able to receive Scorcher tokens.
Awesome. Yeah, so definitely for everybody that hasn't heard of Scorcher, take a good look at Scorcher as well here, because, well, number one, there's a lot going on already with it, and we'll have to have a Scorcher AMA at some point, right? Because there's a lot happening within that project. But Crypto Sean here has a question: when NFTs for Palm for Americium?
Those are currently in development right now. I will have a closer idea as to the timing of. I was actually just talking with Dark about that this morning, and he's like, we really need to make sure that we have that timed very well with launch or close to.
Okay,
So that's something that we have in development now. Our goal is to have that out by launch.
all
But
right.
one thing to keep in mind is we're also in development of the founder NFTs. We're also in development of bringing that same getting the staking finalized for Scorcher, getting the
Yeah.
staking live for Americium on Ethereum, live for Americium on Palm.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of development that we have going on right now is actually pretty astounding. But that is our goal, is to have that live with the launch.
Well, so let's get into, yeah. So you're looking at trying to get NFT staking pretty much live when you launch, essentially, right?
The staking is probably going to be the one outlier there.
Okay.
So when it comes
Yep.
to the staking for the legendary NFTs on Scorcher is about
Mm-hmm.
done.
Yep.
So that's pretty much there. Then after that, the purpose of why we had to do it with the separate rollout is because with the male NFTs that you use for the morphing, those are actually locked into the staking contract when you stake your Scorcher tokens. So
Right.
obviously we had to get the morphing and NFT
Mm-hmm.
staking out first,
Yeah.
and then the token staking after.
Yeah.
Then from there is the pivot to getting the rest of the Americium side utility done.
Mm-hmm.
So the token staking for Americium, it's already live for BSC. The pool isn't
Okay.
live, but the staking's been done for over a month already. So all of the utility on the BSC side, Americium's already done. We were actually supposed to launch that December 19th, but we had the delay due to the Palm Bridge. So all of that utility is already ready. That utility will be what's getting replicated to Palm and Ethereum. The staking on Palm and Ethereum for Americium will probably be the last things done. But all of that utility is what we are looking at bringing. It's just all up to the timing of the three.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're juggling a lot of different things, obviously, and uh, getting everything done in order as appropriate, right? And that's the key, and to do things right, not to rush something just to have a bunch of things out there. And the good thing is, it sounds like, well, I'm just going to bring it up really quick here. Let's see.
Yeah, see, I can definitely agree with that. I think the biggest thing here is, having the full transparency,
Mm-hmm.
our team being as active as they are, us constantly being there, constantly talking, keeping people updated, answering questions, all of those things. And then also, kind of one of those proof in the pudding type things. When it comes to our team, we've proven that what we say is going to happen. We've proven that we have, very, very good developers, that, the utility that we bring works very, very well, and
Mm-hmm.
everything that we say we're going to bring happens. So, of course, in crypto, not all developments happen on time. Not all developments are going to, be able to just be pushed out in a day, 2 days, etc. But there's
Right.
not that kind of doubt that people have when it comes to other teams of like, are they just blowing smoke? People can tell that we're fully transparent, we're honest, and that
For
we do
sure, and
what we
that's the
say we will.
key. That's the key, right? And if you're transparent with people, and give them the straight truth of where things are at, when they're going to be done. Obviously, sometimes dates are missed, but depending on how you handle that, it makes such a difference, right? Um, and then I just wanted to mention, so this is the BSC. I'm just have the dashboard up right now, so you'll be able to you'll see on the right, you'll see like your claimed rewards and stuff like that once, like the Palm sides, like the BSC, Palm, and ETH side essentially that's how it'll work. You'll log in with your Palm wallet
Yeah, yeah. So
once
you'll be
that's
able to
up and
swap.
running.
You'll be able to swap between the networks. So,
And then,
and
oh
yeah,
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
show.
So
So
you'll be able
yeah,
to swap.
kind of like how Dark Sea is set up.
Yep.
It'll be similar to how Dark Sea is set up, where you'll be able to swap between networks, etc.
Okay. And then regarding the staking, do you have how is your staking working for Americium, for example? I know, like, is it a specific APR that you're going to have? Is it a varying
It's
APR?
pool weight.
Yeah.
So pretty much how it'll work is I'll set a certain amount of supply
Yeah.
according to what is expected on the amount of holders and the amount of people that will be staking. So I'll be able to pretty much give a percentage base off of that. It'll work pretty much the same as how ETH burn staking works. ETH burn staking on our first pool, we had about 25% of the entire supply that was staked.
Okay.
And with that 25%, I mean, you also have to think there was roughly 28% of total supply that was held throughout the team wallets for the staking, etc. There's also over 28 or so percent supply that is locked in liquidity. So looking at that, you know, we had almost 60% of the circulating supply, maybe even a little bit higher, that was actually staked, and we were still paying out roughly 5.5% APR per month.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that. Once everything's up and running, I will definitely check that out. Brandon here is calling AM to be the biggest launch of 2023. He just called it. So there you go.
Yeah,
Sam.
he's been with me a while. He's yeah,
Okay,
really
cool.
really solid guy. He's a
Bullish.
moderator of ours, and yeah, he's been a
Okay.
really long time supporter.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. I enjoy doing these AMAs and supporting all the projects. Um, yeah, so he's Sam saying this low tax means you're free to swing trade as much as you like. Yeah, it's like that should be it's nice for that to be available for people, right?
Yeah, I think
So
that's important when we get on that
right?
tax topic. Just for
Yeah.
me to touch on that really quick, because
Yeah.
like I brought up with that high tax for most reward tokens, people assume, you know, oh well, there's the high tax, I'm going to earn so much more. But once that volume dies out, are you going to earn more on a say 7% reward tax on a 12, 14% tax token that gets almost no volume, or are you going to
Right.
earn more on a 2% reward tax on a token that gets volume every single day?
Mhm. Yep, for sure. I'm with you there. So, I did want to kind of come back to, you were talking about development and how hard your team is working and everything. So, I wanted to kind of come back to the team, just how big your team is right now. Who are your key team members? And maybe just give us a little bit on them.
All right, so we have me, of course. I'm the founder and CEO, and then we have Manushak, and Manushak helps with he does contracts and things like that. He's also a
Mm
wizard when it comes to Block Explorer. He's been working very closely with a lot of different bot developers. Like we have the Mint bot from A14 Stoner, that is one of the slickest mint bots in the entire crypto space. You can run, you know, mint competitions and things like that from it.
Yeah, I saw that. That looked
Shows you top holders. Like,
pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, really, really cool stuff there. He's also been working on some other AI bots. He's also been working on some other things for different perks that we'll be able to give to, you know, say diamond hand holders, say possibly founders holders. We'll find where we want to work all of this in.
Mhm.
But things, arbitrage bots, trading bots, you know, different things along the lines there, and also, you know, AI bots when it comes to art, mint bots, etc. So he works on a lot of those things. We have Dima, who is our European head moderator, And I know you guys see him in Scorcher, you guys see
Yeah.
him in Reflectos, you guys see him around. He's a good friend of mine as well. He actually started as just an investor when it came to ETH burn, but he's one of those guys that is a full-time diamond hand. He knows how to work for his bags. He was
Mm-hmm.
always very, very active, and we decided, he deserves to have a core team spot. He's
Awesome.
very, very supportive. Then, of course, we have Majoras, who was just in here speaking, and he is our American side head moderator. Then we have, a good amount of people that help around. They wouldn't be quite core team, but I could say core supporters that we have a ton of that help moderate our chat, help answer
Awesome. Yeah.
questions, those kinds of things. Then when you get into development, on the development side, we have full support from Palm when it comes to the bridge, so they will be supporting the bridge, development support on the bridge, pre and post bridge. That will be from BSC to Palm. That will be from BSC to ETH as well. So we will have the Ethereum side and Palm side development support on the bridge from them. Then when you get into our in-house developers, we have the Bit Valley team, and that team, the forefront person that you see when it comes to that is Emperor. But Emperor
Yeah.
and Mighty, they own Bit Valley. What Bit Valley is a big time development project. Their token itself also plays into their multi chain NFT marketplaces that they have of their own. They also have
Okay.
built the multi chain marketplace with Dark. Dark is, of course, our full-time graphics and NFT artist, and you guys, of course, have seen him around a lot.
He's like kicking butt. All of his releases have just been phenomenal. Phenomenal stuff.
Yeah,
I just put
he
the
is
team guys
amazing.
up there.
And when it comes to Bit Valley, for example, they have over 20 different developers on staff. The main coders and main backend developers are actually them themselves. So that would be Mighty and Emperor, etc. But they also have a full team of web developers, front end developers, graphics, etc. So their development team is roughly 20 members that are part of that. And then, of course,
Okay,
we
cool.
have Matt, who is one of the best Solidity developers in the entire crypto space.
All right. Well, I like that because I had I had been following and involved a bit with Vault Finance pretty very early with the Cella Swapper coming out and everything. So very aware of that, and that's actually a nice thing that Matt's kind of connected with that and the other project you mentioned as well. So gives
Yeah,
me
and
additional
for me,
confidence. Yeah.
I like to work with good projects and good people, and that's one thing that you brought up of liking the fact that I've been helping other projects and other people like Big K recently.
Mm-hmm.
We're also helping Dean Toshi with his project as well. So for me personally, I do more of the mapping out, tokenomics, initial market caps, liquidity, what the raises should be, etc. Of course, we have Matt doing contract development. We have Emperor doing DApp development. Dark doing, NFT art, etc. For Vault Finance in particular,
Yeah.
it was funny because before I started working really, really closely with Matt, it was kind of funny because I actually worked with Chris, who is the CEO of Vault Finance, and I actually helped them with things like their CERTIC audit and things like that. The
Okay.
purpose
Yeah.
of that being done is guys like Medhurst and View and some of these guys that I knew were also part of the investor group of Vault Finance. So kind of
Right.
funny how everything kind of
Very
plays hand in
interesting.
hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is exactly what I'm looking to create here is an ecosystem of safe vetted developers, founders, coders, DApp developers, artists, etc., and being able to kind of create this network of solid guys that you can trust and
Mm-hmm.
solid projects that you can trust.
100%. 100%. Yeah, and just if people weren't aware of this, I am actually on top of this AMA today. I'm doing a live stream tonight at 7 p.m. And Manu's going to be on talking about Reflect Doge as well on that live stream. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah.
so everybody will get a chance to meet him and listen to him a little bit later tonight.
And as you guys saw from the team side, it's actually a funny concept because Manny has actually never doxed himself.
Oh, okay.
On this project, this is actually the first time that he has allowed himself to dox. And that
Mm,
just goes to show I've worked with Manny about a year now,
yeah.
roughly a year that we've worked together. We've done projects before. We're very, very close. Obviously, I'm fully doxed. He doxes himself to me and always has. I have his personal number, he has mine, etc.
Yep.
Addresses, all of those kinds of things to have a true KYC between each other.
Yep.
Also, both of us have done full KYC with Assure DeFi that does full geolocation. They also dig into your past projects. They also look into your team wallets. You also have to give them information on who has access to what, etc. All of those things are doxed through their KYC, so they know. Like for example, I hold the contract ownership of ETHBurn, for example.
Right.
All of these things are jotted down through their KYC. It's the most extensive KYC I've ever done, and we're actually both CertiK KYC'd as well, and this was actually more extensive than that.
Awesome. Yeah, because I was actually gonna ask you about the KYC and doxing and everything. So very glad to hear that you guys have went that direction and went that far. Which, I don't know, and I'm hoping more of that comes to the proof of memes chain, right? Because we've had, originally there was some of these rugs and stuff like that, and as we go more and more towards KYC, doxing, auditing, safe launches, and also getting to know people, um, and building these stronger connections, right? It's going to be much more helpful for everybody to avoid that type of thing.
Yeah, and I mean it's not the end all be all, the biggest thing with it is finding the right people, finding the right teams, finding
Yeah.
transparent teams. I mean, just because someone's KYC doesn't mean a project's safe, but if you really look
Yeah.
into, certain people or teams and you know, teams like us, we have way too much reputability for these things to not matter, and that's the biggest
Mm-hmm.
thing is for us, we're out there in a lot of different projects, big names associated with big names, big people, etc. It would just be, I mean, absolute suicide. It would be one of the dumbest things possible for us to even think about doing anything like that. So, the way that I
Exactly.
always tell people is, you know, I don't start projects because I need money. I do projects because I want to have a long lasting legacy. I want to make money long term doing this. I don't do things to where I have to sit here and pull money out of my projects. Like I've said a bunch of times when it comes to say Scorcher, for example, all of those wallets are out there. I've also doxed the wallet that I hold the supply that I took in the beginning. I was transparent
Mm-hmm.
about the fact that I got 1% supply. You can see that that wallet has not been touched. The only thing that wallet has done is mint NFTs. There's nothing shady going on with that. Obviously, all of the team wallets are there and intact. People have gone through those team wallets a bunch of times, seen that they have no relation to MEXC. There's been no transfers to MEXC, etc. We're here for the long term, and that's not just the long term. Of course, we're there for the long term when it comes to Palm, but it's the same thing with BSC. It's the same thing with ETH. People
Mm-hmm.
that are going and
100%.
making projects just to make money are the ones that are very short sighted and they make a small amount of money. The people that
Yeah.
actually build for the long term and build something successful, I can guarantee you I'll make a lot more money long term. Yes, I may not see the benefit today or tomorrow or the day after, but when it comes to this long term, I will have, a lot bigger of a network, a lot bigger of a circle, and we will all make a lot more money long term together than these people that have the short sighted, I'm going to rug everybody for 5 grand and now my entire reputation's gone and I have to run away from the space. Where, with me,
Mm-hmm.
I come to a project with money. I come to a project with backing, and I come to a project with a clean slate. We don't have a deficit at launch. We don't have
Yeah.
developers that are owed money. We don't have all
Desperate
of this, back
developers that
debt that I
aren't
have to
gonna,
pay.
yeah. Well, yeah, it makes such a big difference, right? Because the problem is that if you're in any kind of desperation, and maybe at the beginning, the first month or two, everything kind of takes off, it seems like, oh, we're gonna have everything covered, and you put all this money, you put some money into marketing and stuff, and then the bear hits or this hits, and you're not getting that money anymore. You don't have the financial kind of, like, the foundation that's actually needed for this, and then you get desperate and you do things that don't actually help the investors of the projects, or you need to take money out at the wrong time. And yeah, no, it's much better to, I always prefer to have projects that have some kind of financial uh, foundation before launching and everything, or
Yeah, and that
set
also,
set things up in such a way that, even with, like you said, you did the NFTs on the one, so that there's some funds there, and then you don't need to take money out right away or something, right?
yeah, you don't have to have that adverse pressure, and that's why, like the success of Scorcher, for example, there hasn't been a single team member that sold a single token. We also have to sell a swapper, so it's a term that
Hmm.
I like to use because I don't see any purpose of not using a sell a swapper personally.
Well, once it
So
exists, right? So why don't you tell people? I know about the Solid Swapper, but why don't you just tell people about that so people understand how that works
So the way
briefly?
that it works is the contract will have two separate routers. So of course you have the route that goes through the Palm Swap liquidity, for example, on this token, but then you also have the swapper router. And what the swapper router does is it practically front runs the transaction before it actually swaps into tokens. So the way that it works on a typical swap, so Palm Swap, Uniswap, Pancake Swap, etc., everybody knows the term contract sells. What happens with a contract sell is, for example, you go to buy Scorcher with Palm. So Scorcher, for example, has a 9% tax on Palm Swap for your buy. So you go to buy your Scorcher with Palm, you send your Palm, all of that Palm, then transacts or swaps into Scorcher tokens. Then, after the swap into native token, 9% of that tax is accumulated into the contract. The
Hmm.
contract waits for a swap and liquefy function, which is your theoretical contract sell. What happens with the sellless swapper is it will take that 9% tax before the swap into native tokens, and it
Yeah.
will take it directly in Palm. So it will still accumulate in the contract, and it still needs to have either a swap and liquefy or a sell, etc., for those funds to be sent, but it's already accumulated in Palm. It does not have to accumulate into Scorcher tokens, wait for that swap and liquefy function, sell on the chart so that it can get Palm, and then
Hmm.
distribute that Palm to the tax wallets. So in
Right.
this case, it will front run the transaction, it will accumulate directly in Palm. Once the function goes out for distribution, it will distribute directly in Palm. So there is no contract sell.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. So here's a question for you regarding your sellless swapper. Is it is there potential for other projects to put that on your swapper? Like, is that basically your own? That's basically your own DEX, right? So have you looked at
So
having other, or were you just,
the way that it works is where the, I would say, difficulty of that comes in for some projects
yeah.
is for someone that wants to make it you for someone that wants to use that technology and make it an actually liquidity holding dex, for example. So like say if Palm Swap wanted to use it,
Hmm.
the where that becomes a bit more difficult is there is an agreement between Matt and Novation Exchange. That
Yeah.
Novation Exchange is the flagship
Right.
swap that will be using that technology. the way that it works for projects is, like I said, when it comes to like Scorcher, for example, the only way that that works is palm to scorch, scorch to palm. So if you want to buy, you can buy. If you want to sell, you can sell. But it is not a liquidity holding DEX. So I
Right.
would not be able to onboard another project onto, say, Scorch Swap, because all that is palm to scorch, scorch to palm. It is not
Right.
liquidity holding.
Right.
So
Right.
all it is a swap mechanism that is made for that token in particular. So
Mm-hmm.
Americium swap, for example, is not linked or related to Scorchers. Scorchers not
Right.
linked or related to Americiums. Not to say that others couldn't use it, because
Mm-hmm.
there's two other projects that are already looking at using it. So others can, but it's built for that one token.
Right. Right.
That's the only way that Matt will actually do it for any other projects,
Mm-hmm.
because he does have a gentleman's agreement with Novation Exchange. He is
Nope.
also the chief innovative technology for Novation Exchange. So he
Mm-hmm.
has that gentleman's agreement that he will not stray from.
Nope. And that's exactly how it should be. Exactly how it should be. I just want to bring this back, and maybe I was hoping I'd get you on video here, but maybe this is why. Sam saying, fact, Bigfoot hasn't been seen for decades because he saw Ken walking in the woods. It's still hiding to this day. Is this what happened, Ken? What is Sam
Um,
trying to say here?
I think that really I actually am Bigfoot, and people just don't know that. So I
Ah,
think that he got his facts a little bit messed up. I was
all
gonna say I can
right.
pop the camera on,
All right.
if people want the camera on. So not really a big deal for me. But yeah,
Yeah. Hey, you look like Bigfoot. No, just.
I was gonna say you got the nice
Hey,
beard too, but
I
that's
got
what everybody always gets at. So
yeah, the beard is. Hey, the beard's where it's at. That's what my wife says and all her friends. So you need the beard. All
yeah.
right. Well,
We
yeah,
had a little
no.
family party yesterday, and it was the first time that my sister-in-law's boyfriend has seen me in a while, and he's all, "Oh man, did you actually cut it?" I was like, "Yeah, my wife trimmed it, but still nice and full."
I know well, you can't tell in the thing, but I had mine was pretty out of control until recently, and I didn't shave it for like the Christmas pictures or anything, but we were going to see Dave Chappelle live,
Oh,
and we were going to be like second row. So I'm like, just in case I get on camera, I'm gonna like trim this baby a little bit. But the
I was gonna say,
Christmas
I bet that was
pictures,
good.
oh, it was awesome, and being right there, second row, phenomenal,
Yeah,
hilarious,
he's
per-
probably my favorite comedian all time.
perfectly not politically correct, perfectly not correct.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, no, he's awesome, and yeah, so we got a lot of beard talk going here. We have Bigfoot is Ken has been confirmed. Barry McCockiner uses his beard to hide his handsomeness.
Oh man, how did Barry find me?
Do you know Barry?
I do know Barry.
Ah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Well, I know
Welcome
him
in,
through
Barry.
another project too, so
Oh,
he's
really?
probably here via me in my YouTube channel. So,
Yeah, he knows me from another project as well.
funky, funky. Well, so let's continue on here and get this kind of wrapped up. So I just wanted to see if you wanted to mention anything roadmap wise. So we're looking at the if you want to just give a quick rundown of what's going to be happening up to launch, and then maybe briefly after launch, some of the steps that might occur.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll be seeing some more AMAs. We'll definitely be seeing some more marketing. We will have a supported project AMA with the Palm team. We'll also have a supported project AMA with the Rolodex team. We'll
Perfect.
have some BSC AMAs coming up with some of the people that I know, but as most people know, in the market conditions that we're in, you should be very, very picky and choosy in where you're spending your marketing funds and how these things are being done. So
Yeah.
it's not something that you want to blow the whole load, right away, and then try to bank on the fact that you're going to have all of this volume or you're going to have all these mints or etc. It's something to be very, very selective in how you roll it out. We
Yep.
also have advertisements that will be coming up like PooCoin, etc., banner ads, those kinds of things that will be rolling up to it. And then when it comes to the actual launch will be January 23rd at 7 p.m. UTC. And with that, we will see the three tokens going live pretty closely together. Of course, there may be some lapses in between, just making sure this one gets up, this one's up and running smoothly, and then we can kind of go from there. So, like Barry said, don't blow your load. You got to save
Yep.
some of that in there. So, that's one of the big things we'll be doing, but we will have those other utilities like the NFTs that will be giving project funds, etc. And then I've
Yep.
also put myself in the position where I have Palm ready, I have BNB ready, I have Ethereum ready. I have these different things ready already personally to be able to support
Hmm.
them.
Yep.
But yeah, once you see that launch go out, you will start to see other
A lot.
marketing and other things happening. But
Yep.
another thing is with a launch of this magnitude, you don't be the win marketing guys. That's the biggest thing that I'll say, because once you see this happen and you see this go live and you see the hype behind it, people will
Hmm.
go and market this just because they want to be a part of it.
Right. Yeah. Well, for sure, it'll happen. But one question that came up was the whitelist sale. Will that be a couple days before or no
Yeah, we're
date
planning on
yet?
starting
Probably.
that Monday. So whitelist
Okay.
sale for the Palm side, we plan on starting Monday. And then other than that, it'll just be rollout of marketing up until we get to that launch, working on utility, getting those things live. We also have a
Awesome.
revamp of the website coming up this week as well. That will
Cool.
have multi-chain information and that kind of stuff added to it as well. As most people know, even the possibility of Ethereum, I didn't even know that that was a possibility until roughly a week ago. So,
Right.
with
Yep.
all of these, progressions and different things going on, of course, things happen and they change quickly in crypto. But the main thing to keep in mind is that change isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a benefit to the project, and that's what we've seen with this is the core principles and the plan of the project has never changed. It's just the fact that things like being able to get Ethereum added to the project, yeah, that may be a change, but is that a benefit? Of course.
Yep. 100%. You're gonna get the name out there. All these other places. People are gonna see the project. They're gonna see that this is on Proof of Memes, for example. That they're gonna see it's on BSC, and they are gonna start looking into opportunities there, etc. Right. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's sweet. So we're definitely, well, for everybody, definitely the Telegram and website are in the description. So get your butt in that Telegram channel because there'll be all the information coming up there. And then obviously on the Proof of Meme side, with the Proof of Memes team and Rolodex, there'll be lots of announcements
And
coming
don't miss the
there.
giveaway. Do not miss the giveaway. We're giving away a half a BNB, which is about $140 to the top winner. We're giving away 0.25 BNB, about $70 to the second winner. And then we're giving out three NFTs, which each NFT is a 0.25 BNB value. They also give 20% BNB reflections, also give 5% diamond hand rewards. So with that, all you have to do is go on, hit our socials, hit comments, retweets, etc. Follow Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of these different things to get your points. And that giveaway will actually be expiring the day before launch. So everybody will be able to get their prizes and rewards at that time. If you're maybe from the Palm side, and you don't know BSC or you haven't been part of it, this could be your opportunity of getting free BNB. This could be your
Hmm.
opportunity of getting free BSC NFTs. So, go and hit all the socials, show your support, and we have 5 winners that'll be picked.
And for anybody that isn't sure about exactly what they need to do, just come in the Telegram and ask about it essentially.
Or just hit /giveaway and you'll be able to
Okay.
hit, it's a sweep widget giveaway. So just do
Ah,
/giveaway. We have a push button for the link. Just go in there, click the link, and everything is laid out right there for you. And it's
perfect.
mostly just everything about hitting social, spreading the word, and getting people in.
Beautiful, beautiful. So there is one. So I will say to anybody watching, if you have any questions, you can put any questions in the comments. There is one from Barry that's very serious. He'd like to know if he can swap McCockiner token for Americi- Americium on Memetic swap. Is
All right,
that
so
gonna
so
happen?
shoot me a DM, and show me the applicable liquidity that you have for that, and let's see.
I don't think he has too much so far. I think his liquidity might be a little tiny, little
Yeah, it might
small.
it might be a little too liquid.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, we'll have to see if he follows up with a DM about that. Um, any other questions from anybody else while we're giving people that opportunity? Was there anything else you wanted to talk about before we kind of wrap up, Ken? I know we went through a lot here, and
Um, not really. Not really. I don't think
yeah,
so. I mean, I think that, an hour and a half, I think we've gotten a good
yeah,
amount
we
of information out there, and like you said, the team's always there. We're always active. I have more documentation that'll be coming out during the week as the
next week.
rollout
Yeah,
too. We have white
perfect.
paper that's already up there. Website's pretty detailed, those kinds of things. But it's really just adding the multi-chain information. You can go and hit /tax. It'll show that. And we
Right.
also have a recent major announcement that has went out that is very, very detailed on exactly how this is going to work and exactly what this means. We also
Okay.
have the filter /breakdown in the Telegram group that is very, very detailed on all of the different allocations, what that means for each chain, starting liquidities, etc.
All right, everybody. Well, when you're done watching this video, the first thing you should do is get in that Telegram and also be sure to like and subscribe to this because I'll be having lots more proof of memes projects and other DeFi projects as well. Well, I really want to thank you so much for coming out today and talking about the project. And as I said, the links are in the description. And it's been awesome to have you on here again, Ken. Really
Thank you very
appreciate it.
much.
All right,
Us
everybody.
bearded guys got to stick together.
100%. 100%. All right. Well, we're going to wrap this guy up. Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell so you don't miss the next one.